Morning, everyone. Good morning. It's good to see you all. Everyone on Zoom, is it okay? Can we do a little sound check, maybe? Is it okay?
Sounds good.
Voices from the sky?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
Wonderful. Oh,
Sounds good to me.
thank you all.
Excellent.
All
Yeah,
right, I guess we can continue. That's great. All right. Hi, everyone. I am not Sister Pearl. My name is Keido. I'm a priest here at the Zen Center. And yeah, it's really nice to be here, although I haven't given many talks on a Sunday. It's a real treat to be able to come up here and try to say something. And I'm going to try to say something. So I've picked something that I've kind of been working with a little while, and I kind of picked a koan that goes with that thing. So the koan, the case 46 from the Gateless Barrier is what I put on the program, and I'll read that for those that don't have that in front of them. Case 46, Shi-Shuang, step from the top of the pole. The priest Shi-Shuang said, "How do you step from the top of a 100-foot pole?" Another eminent master of former times said, "You who sit on top of a 100-foot pole, although you have entered the way, it is not yet genuine. Take a step from the top of the pole, and worlds of the 10 direction are your total body." Woo! What is that about? So what is a 100-foot pole? What is 100 feet? I'm not really good at estimating like what 100 feet is. So I had to do some looking up things to maybe get a little perspective. So the Zendo here is 40 feet by about 19 feet. So if you're in the room, you can kind of see what 40 feet is, 2.5 times that. If you're outside Zen Center, you can look up at the building. That's also about 40 feet. Or if you were to walk from one corner of in front of the Zen Center to the other, out front, that is about 100 feet. And so if you can imagine a pole going up 100 feet into the air, and you are sitting on there, standing on there for some reason, however you got up there, I don't know, because you're magic. What is that like? You know, and you can take a minute to kind of really think about what would it be like to be on top of the 100-foot pole, and what that means. So kind of in Zen, what that means is you've done all this, you've taken all this effort, you've worked really hard. You have come up and you've practiced and you've sat zazen or done all the things, and you're on the pole. You've climbed to the very top and you're kind of balancing there. I don't know if you're sitting, sleeping. I don't know how you sleep on a pole, but maybe some people can. But at some point, you're on the pole, and the pole, it just isn't enough. It's the safe place to be. And it seems kind of weird to think that on top of a 100-foot pole, oh, that's the safe place. But you're standing on something, right? You have this base, this practice that you rely on, this thing that is kind of outside of you. And when we're learning, this is completely what we need. We need the support of structure. We need the support of zazen. We need the support of, for me, it was priest training. I needed that support. I needed that structure. Could I have done this practice without that kind of structure? It would have been harder for me, I think. But it's safe for me on this pole. It's safe for me because I know when it bends, I know when it leans, I know when the wind blows, I need to counterbalance. I know all the things. It's very familiar to me, and I can just sit on here and it's fine. I don't really need to do anything else. Although you have entered the way, it is not yet genuine. So we have a little admonishment here. Staying on the pole just isn't quite enough. Why not? What is genuine? And I really need to be clear about genuine, because it's very easy to get confused as to what real practice is, what genuine practice is, what Zen means and what it is. Because I can sit here and tell you, I am figuring that out still. I don't know. When we sit on top of the pole and we're not stepping off the pole, we think we know, but we don't know. We're relying on something else. When you see somebody that's doing a ritual, this ritual that's done with all the formality and maybe grace, maybe not, and we think that I should speak with me statements. I think that that's the way that it has to be done. There's no other way for it to do it. That is the genuine practice. That is real Zen right there. I need to really examine that and check that and see what that is, because the genuineness is something else. And that's kind of what I want to get into today, using this koan to step off of the pole. So the reason I think it's not genuine, that it's not authentic, is because it's not mine. It's not yours. We have these external tools, and we take these tools and we have people to learn from, and we take their teachings and we hold them and we digest them. And if I'm just copying what everybody is doing, then it is not my practice. It is not mine. It is not authentic to me. And what do I mean by mine? Mine is the conditions of my life, how they're showing up. Mine is how the karma that I have been given intersects with that life. And paying attention to that intersection and the resonance that comes from that when everything is aligned, when everything is in tune, when everything is in harmony with the inner part of you. There's an accord that happens with your life that you know this is my genuine expression of the moment. So I was listening to some Katagiri talks online, and I get into them sometimes, and things are kind of rolling through one of his talks. He asks a lot of times he says something about what is your life? You don't know what your life is. What is it that you think your life is, but you don't know? And so I was listening to this talk, and I heard him say, I have this idea that my life is maybe my experiences. That's what I figured my life was, right? It's all my experience kind of piled together, and then is in this body, and that's my life. But I'm also holding this, I don't know what my life is. And then he says, your experiences are a grain of sand compared to the vastness of your life, or something like that. I love to paraphrase. And that just stopped me. Like, what? I thought my life was this thing. I thought my life was this defined box. I thought it was this thing. But he's saying that my life is something else. It's something that I'm not thinking about. It's something that is so much bigger and is so vast that all of the experience that I've had my whole life is just this little piece of it. Wow. What is that? So is my life, what is it? What is this thing? Is it just the time I have left on the earth? From the beginning, from born to death? Is my life my schedule? Like, okay, I got to get up, I got to get to Zen Center, I got this, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Is my life what you guys think? Interesting. And so probing the question of what is my life and what is authenticity, what is genuine about that, I've kind of been thrown into this question, not of my own accord. It just kind of happened. And to tell you a little bit about my general existence, growing up, maybe when I was young, I maybe didn't feel super safe being who I was, like genuinely. I was pretty aloof as a kid. I would just kind of go about, bebopping around, and just kind of having fun and doing the things that I do. At some point, I learned that was not appropriate. And, having fun and trying to change the stoplights with my mind, just stop it, right? That was the message I got. And I was also, a little bit of a goofball. I like to make people happy, try to make them laugh. So there's, as a way of kind of denying what I need and paying attention to what others need. Now, this eventually turned into a life of service. Service in the Boy Scouts, service in the military, service as a management style as a facilitator, service as a priest, service as going into research, service as, my whole life is kind of a service-oriented thing. I enjoy it. Like, genuinely, I get something from serving. This is good. But I can also get caught up in this serving where I don't know who I am or what my needs are because I'm too busy paying attention to what's out. And recently I've been thrust into this position of needing to know what's in. What is this life? What is this I'm paying attention to? What is it that I need? What is it that I can offer as genuine in this service? So about 1.5 years ago, I received Dharma transmission from my teacher. And practically speaking, that means I'm free, right? No more requirements, no more constraints, no more rules. I got nothing. Well, I got the precepts, I got all that stuff too, whatever. But, so what do I do? What do I want to do? Oh, this is a good question. I can't just keep doing what other people are doing. I can't keep doing what other people tell me or show me. I have to figure out what it is that is true to me. So I have to develop my own practice. You have to develop your own practice. So the other thing that was thrust upon all of us is the ice surge. And what do we do with that? How do we respond to that individually? What can I do? I know what I can physically do. I can physically put my body in places. I can physically do this. I'm very able at doing quite a lot of things, not everything, but quite a bit. And so it's hard to create a boundary and know what it is that I should be doing, what it is that I can do, and what is it that I want to do to contribute that is genuine to me. And I don't know all the possible ways because I'm just one little person with limited experience. But what is it of me and my particularity of this individual that has come up that is helpful? And that is still the ongoing question. So I don't have an answer for that. So basically, I just want to share that this is something that I've found in my practice to be really valuable. And I want to encourage everyone to find, maybe you're really good at that already. Maybe you're already very true to yourself. And this is great. And maybe I'm the only one and I'm talking to myself, and that's cool too. I can do that. In my exploration of this authenticity, I found that there's a few barriers. And in these barriers, there's ways to kind of work around them, but it's hard to work around them when I don't know that they're barriers. And I'm sure there's many more things that I haven't even been aware of yet. And Sangha is always helpful for making things apparent that I am unaware of. No, that's the helping authenticity. Go to the barriers of authenticity. Okay, so thinking that there's a right way, thinking that there's only one way to do it, there's one true way, and it's universal for everybody, and that's the way, that's what should be done, right? I have to do this. The only way to sit zazen is in full lotus and upright and for 18 hours at a time. Not for me, man. Not for me. And if you can, and that is true to you, that's awesome. That's fine. And if you need to lay down, that's awesome, and that's fine. And I've had many times where the circumstances in my life change, where laying down zazen is what I do. Where a full prostration for me and my body is barely a gasho nod of my head. So thinking that there's one way to do anything. Another barrier that I found is numbing out to the body. And what I mean by that is that there's just no connection with the body. In zazen, we can sit and observe what is happening in our minds, yes, and we can kind of let that go. But there's so much more down here, passed down all the way to the floor, that is going on that we can pay attention to. Because as a human, this whole body is the instrument of our experience. And it gathers information from its whole self all the time. And it tells us things. And how aware are we of that? I don't know. Again, maybe some are very aware. Great. I'm not so aware. Not great. But having no connection to this body stops me from seeing what it is that is important to me. I'll get more on that in a minute. The other thing is when I'm in this body and I have an emotion, I can often mislabel that emotion. And I can think that it's something else. Oh, I'm so mad at that person. Well, really, I'm not mad at that person. I'm mad at me because I want to do what that person's doing and I don't feel like I'm allowed. Or I'm mad at that person because they scare the shit out of me. Or many other misunderstandings of what's happening in my body. I have all this energy and I feel, really bent out of shape. And I think that I'm angry, or I think that I'm afraid, when really maybe I'm excited. So automatically labeling something, labels can be helpful, but mislabeling can be a barrier to this, finding out what is authentic to us. Another thing that's a big barrier for me is comparing myself to others. I should be out there filming ice because that is what looks like is important to do. But I'm not doing that. You know, my body doesn't go do that. My body doesn't engage that way. Okay. That means that I'm doing something wrong because they're doing it and I think that's right. That comparison is not helpful in finding out what it is that resonates with you, unless you're looking at that as, okay, I'm comparing. I know that I'm comparing, and why do I think that? So these can lead to questions to help build that authenticity. But simply comparing yourself is a barrier. And in the Therigatha, Abhirupananda, in part of her enlightenment poem, says, get rid of the tendency to judge yourself above, below, or equal to others. And this struck me really hard because generally when I judge myself above or below. Like, I'm better than this person, that person's way better than me, they're so smart and they're so cool and I'm not, and you know, all that business. But to judge equal to? I didn't really think that that's really a judgment, but it is. And if we can release this complete judgment, what is there that's holding me back from being my true self? And so I ask you, what are your barriers? What are things that stop you from that self-exploration, that checking in with yourself and checking in with that resonance that happens when you are doing what it is that you do? So some things that I found helpful for cultivating this authenticity, this resonance, this trueness to myself is getting to know you, getting to know all about you. We know that song, right?
Getting to know you.
Thank you. All about you. There we go. Yes. Yeah, and in the next line, getting to like you, getting to hope you like me. Yes, yes. So that's in there. That's in there. Dogen does it differently, right? To study the way is to study the self. That's a little more boring. Music's more fun, but yeah, studying the self, getting to know what it is that's going on inside, and not really worrying about what goes on inside, what that means. I have this feeling in my lower abdomen. That's interesting. What is that? If I jump to labeling, I could mislabel and find out that it's, and go down this long road of thought. But just staying with that and just holding that, seeing what develops from that. This is helpful for me. It's information that says, oh, there's this condition that's going on around me and I'm reacting to it. Okay. This is tuning in. And this tuning in is going to be very helpful. The other thing that's been very helpful for me in cultivating trueness to myself is being in a supportive group. So being at Zen Center, for me personally too, being in a men's group where it is very explicit. Whatever you have, whatever you bring here is okay. It is accepted the way it is. You don't need to change. You can come in here pissed off. You can come in here crying. You can come in here telling jokes and happy. It's fine. You can be loud, you can be quiet, you can be obnoxious. What? Wait a minute, there's no reaction to obnoxious? Because we don't do obnoxious very well in this room. It doesn't happen very much. But being in a group that can hold you while you go through something, being in a group that reflects back to you any expression that you have, this is very helpful in seeing what is important to you and allowing you to just suspend all judgment and let out what needs to be let out, which gets to removing filters and masks. I know many people that have a mask, and they have a mask because it's very useful to, especially in social situations, to know what is acceptable, what's not acceptable. Things that can cause me to be harmed, ostracized, in a social group. And so we put on these layers and we put on these masks that say, I need to be protected. This little self that I am needs to have some kind of barrier between me and the world. And I need to watch what I say, and I need to watch what I do. Otherwise, I'm going to get rejected, and rejection in a human context, in a small village, means death. I don't want to die. I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to be laughed at. And if I say something, spur of the moment, offhand, that is not accepted, that's really painful. And if I'm being really genuine about something and sharing, and that gets rejected, oh, that really hurts. It hurts a lot. So I found that finding what authenticity is, paying attention to the insides, and in my case, there's even a part where I'll say something. Words will come out of my mouth, and I'll pay attention to something in here somewhere. And I'll know that that's not what I meant to say. It's not really true. It doesn't have that ring to it. Or I'll make a really flippant comment, and I'll go, no, that's not it. That doesn't hit the mark. So what is it that I really want to say? And it's not filtering, but really exploring what it is that is truly me in the moment that wants to come out. And that can be really messy. It could just be messy. So let's just be a mess sometimes. Let's just, let it hang out. And let it be clunky, and let it be whatever it is. Some of you might be smooth, some of you might be clunky, some of you might be whatever. And in this supportive group where everything is supported, we can do it. We can. Also, taking a chance on new things, I think, is supportive in finding authenticity, because as I said before, I'm just this limited human being. I'm this one person. I grew up in North Minneapolis. I went in the Navy. I came back to Minnesota. I haven't been a lot of places. But, so there's a lot that I don't know. So trying on some things that I see that are outside of me. Seeing if something resonates with me or not, by saying, is this thought okay? Is this practice okay? What is it that I'm seeing out there? Can I try salsa dancing? I don't know. Because my body wants to do it, right? The music comes on and I'm like, my body wants to move in a way, but it doesn't know how to move in a way. You ever watch me dance? It's not great. But, you know, Paula gave a great talk and we danced and it was wonderful. And years ago, Carrie tried to get me to dance and I refused to do it, right? Because I was too afraid. Because it's messy. There's a Seinfeld line about Elaine's dancing the full body dry heave. Is that what it was? Yeah. And that's how I think of my own. It's okay. I'll just let it be that for a while. Maybe something different will come out. I'm not sure if we can do this like finding authenticity, finding genuineness in a vacuum. I don't think I could do it in my room by myself. I find it very beneficial to be in community somehow. And nature is a community, right? Our neighborhoods are communities. This place is a community. Work, family, all these things where we have something that is external to us, something that is outside of our small, limited knowledge that we can start to pull in and resonate with or not, and find out what's important to us. We can stretch our legs. Dogen also said in Genjo Koan, when you find your place, practice occurs. Actualizing the fundamental point. Connecting with your life all the way down. Being true to that life all the way down. So back to the koan here. So we have some encouragement. Take a step from the top of the pole, and the worlds of the 10 directions are your total body. There's a lot in there, and I'm not going to cover that. What I'm going to say is, we step off of the pole, what's going to happen? When we leave our comfort zone, what is going to happen? Am I going to fall all that 100 feet and land on my face? Am I going to die? The encouragement says, no, we're not going to die. The encouragement says, our whole body, when we are genuine, when we give it all up, when we release this, our whole body is everything in the 10 directions, and there's nothing to lose. There's nothing to give up. There's nothing to do. We're there. And I don't know how else to express this except to tell you about a dream that I had. I had this dream. I was at Hokyoji at the time. It was during a retreat. And I had this dream where I was circling the earth in space. And I was laying on my back, you know, just kind of backstroking, just laying there, going around the earth. And I was completely solid, supported. Like it felt like I was laying on the ground. I couldn't fall. I could not fall. Complete support. Going through the darkness of space around the earth. I have never felt that support until that time. Like, wow, this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. This is the kind of thing where stepping off the pole in the 10 directions is not stepping out into the ether and finding out what happens. It's at stepping out into the ether and finding complete and total support. That there is nothing else but connection and thusness and support for our life. There's absolutely no way to fail. No way to fail at all. So Wu Men had some comments and a verse, and I have some time, so I'm going to get into that. Wu Men's comment, is there anything helpful here? That's a good question. I asked myself in here. Stepping forward, turning back, is there anything to reject as ignoble or unworthy? Be that as it may, how do you step from the top of the 100-foot pole? Sa! Stepping forward, turning back, is there anything to reject as ignoble or unworthy? Be that as it may, how do you step from the top of a 100-foot pole? Once we stepped off this pole, once we have accepted, and we step off in this way that is completely our own and completely genuine, we think we're untethered maybe. We think that we're lost. But we're not. We can look back and we can say, is there any part of my life that is not useful and not worthy of this attention that points to genuine practice, that points to the true self? Everything that is there, the bad things, the good things, everything that I took for me to find out who I am is what is needed. And from that I can step off again. So can we do that? Can we accept it all? He also left a verse. Wu Men left a verse here, which I'm also going to co-opt. He darkened the eye in his forehead and clung to the mark on the scale. Throw away body and discard life, and the blind one leads the blind. He darkened the eye in his forehead and clung to the mark on the scale. Throw away body and discard life, and the blind one leads the blind. Again, is there any labels that are the labels in the verse helpful here? Or are they distracting? So for me, it sounds like he's saying throw away your life, right? Throw away your body, discard it. Is he saying that? I don't know. Is it even possible to do that? So another interpretation that I had, you read something about 100 times and the words kind of fade off into the background. And so there's maybe less of an interpretation and more of a felt sense of what that could mean and what it means to me is close your eyes, step out. Don't worry about it. No one knows how to do it before they do it. No one knows how to step off the pole before they do it. I don't know. My teacher doesn't know. Dogen doesn't know. Buddha doesn't know. Maybe you know. Maybe you've done it. And if you've done it, are you doing it now? Because every time the circumstances change, and in Zen we know they change pretty darn frequently. Every time they change, we have to step off that pole again. When we find ourselves on the pole, we need to check in. I'm on the pole, step off the pole. Am I being genuine? Step off the pole. So everybody needs to find their own authentic way, just as Buddhas and ancestors have found their own authentic way. And we can hold their way in as an example of them stepping off, but I have a misunderstanding that their way is the way that I should do it. Their way of stepping off should be my way of stepping off. And I'm finding out that that is not the case. That is not true for me. They showed us what they did to step off. They showed us that it's possible to step off. They're showing us what is authentic to them in hopes that we can find what is authentic to us. And there's no one that can tell me, because I've asked. I've asked my teacher, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do in this circumstance? What do I do? To my teacher's credit, he didn't tell me. He didn't tell me. Maybe he couldn't tell me, because people ask me too, and I can't tell you. I can support you. I can try to help you find out what it is for you, but I can't tell you what it is. Nobody can tell you what it is. We have to do it. And that sounds maybe daunting, and it might sound a little passy the buck, but it's not. Because we have our own immense life that we have to take care of. Our own immense life that we have to tune into. Our own immense life that we have to step from the pole with. And we can't do that doing it somebody else's way. We have to do it our way. So I encourage you to be messy, be brave, be whatever, and find out what that is in you that connects you to this life that is not your experience. How do you live that life with your whole body, with your whole self? And how do you keep returning to that, to keep stepping off the pole, to keep giving up, to keep offering what it is that you are, that you have, that particularity of your own self. You might not know what that is. I don't know what that is for me. But I know that you can't fail. I can't fail. We will keep doing this and keep doing this and keep doing this. And here we are with another breath. And here we are again. And we're together. And this is good. So that's what I want to say about that, I think. Thank you. We do have, I don't know what the timing of things needs to be, but I do believe we have time for some questions. Good. Oh, hand shooting up. Lot. Let's go here, and then Ricky. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Real quick, I parked in the driveway. Is that okay?
Authentic parking in the driveway. Yeah. Usually we reserve the driveway for our resident who lives on the second floor.
Okay.
If you haven't blocked her in, did you pull up next door? Or?
There was no space in there. I did not expect there to be this many people here, so I thought
okay.
maybe that was...
Okay. Well, I hope she doesn't have to go somewhere soon, but yeah. Think about relocating.
Okay.
And then you can, for the future, you could park on the road out here. We have few parking spots in the alley, and then I always park in the neighborhood behind the Zen Center, but there's a few places.
Okay. Do you think that would be...
You could wait a minute, I think. That's fine. Just do what you do.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
Implied quotes. I'm a devotee of Richard Bach, the author of Jonathan Siegel and Illusions.
Okay.
And in Illusions, it's Illusions, the author has this little thing, and it goes like this. There's little creatures at the bottom of a river, and he's got other little creatures around him, and the whole gig is you just stay attached to the bottom of the river right there. That's it. That's all you do. This is what you do. You don't do anything else, period. End of story. Oh, Richard Bach, thank you. But anyways, I says, yeah. And all of a sudden, that creature just lets go, rushing down the river. Oh, hurt. I was attached again. Damn, it was fun. And then he does it again, and he ends up attached to, and then he finds this other place, and there's this other bunch of creatures, and they're just stuck there like some ink, and I'm thinking, where did this guy come from? Where did this guy come from? Oh, sidebar, when you read Illusions, everything in that book happened, and you won't believe it, because I attended a lecture by Richard Bach, and he said he couldn't publish that as reality, but everything in that book happened. And you're going to say, yes, this didn't happen, that didn't happen. But I says to you. And then the book goes on further and further. But that's such a great perspective, Just pick up, let go, and go boom. Be messy. Trust you me, I've got that down to a science. And obnoxious? Just ask my brother. But
Great.
you got skills. I like you. You're good. This is about the third or fourth time I've been here. I'm telling you, I've been stabbed in the back so many times I can smell BS a mile away. I can see it on Jupiter. You're good. You got skills. End of story.
Now I'm afraid you're going to see me. Yeah, thank you for that, though. Thank you.
Sure.
Richard Bach, right, you said?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Jonathan Siegel. Us old folks, we
Okay.
Back then we read books, everyone's got idiots read.
Cool, thanks. Ricky.
Hi, Keido, thank you for sharing your Dharma talk. I was excited when I was over there.
Always get to do a Dharma talk.
I bet I'd never heard you do a Dharma talk before, and I was very happy. I remember like a couple of years ago, I was talking to you, and it was like, you're going to make an amazing teacher. And you were like, oh, I got a lot of work to do.
Well, that's true, still.
Yeah. But, and the reason why I said it because I know you're, and you exude a kindness that, like, I needed, like, when I first came here. Like, I felt like I could be my authentic self. Because of people here in the Sangha. To me, it's the most important thing is to be with people. And I came here, to be a Zen geek, and that was my intent. I'm going to sit and meditate and get to that, satori, And at the end of the day, that's not what it was about. It was about the Sangha and about the people. And, but most part, the practicing with people. I think Matt had said something maybe a year ago. He was like, "There's something about meditating with a group of people that's different than doing it by yourself." For sure. And I do that. And I really like what you talk about. Jumping off the pole. I've done that, and it's scary. But man, is it fun. It's so much fun.
It can be fun.
But at the same time, it's not everything. But that's what I do. But, I have to do it with other people to support me. So, thank you, and the Sangha.
Thanks. Anybody online?
Keido, this is Carrie.
Oh, hi, Carrie, you're here.
And I will invite you to dance again. But just thank you so much for your talk and, taking a koan, which has never been one of my strong points, and breaking it down into something that I was able to relate to and understand. I really appreciated your points of ways to step off that pole and tuning into the sensations of the body. Just so important, right? Just so important. Supportive groups, I like that. And then just taking a chance on new things. So you gave me a guide to a complicated koan, and I'm just so very thankful.
Thank you, Carrie. I'm glad you're here. Yes, Rebecca.
I find myself sometimes wrestling with the word practice.
Yeah.
Because you feel like it's a rehearsal. I'm just practicing to actually do something. So I'm wondering if you could talk about how do we use that term practice to be authentic and real?
How do we use the term practice? Because practice can often mean a rehearsal and kind of a pretend thing. Or not the real thing, right? Not the, not,
Like you're preparing,
yeah, you're
but you're
preparing.
not really on stage.
No. But if you want to offer one, go ahead.
I would offer we can see it in the same way that we speak of practicing medicine,
Oh, yeah.
practicing law,
Mhm.
practicing social work. These things don't have an end.
Mhm.
There is training. There's also proficiency that grows where we can be skillful and helpful. It doesn't stop the learning, but that also, it doesn't make it not the whole thing.
And it's never perfect.
That's what I was thinking, yes. The practice implying that, that we get it right at some point. That we don't, it's kind of like oryoki. People have heard me say this probably many times. Oryoki is so complex as a way to eat. We have all the bowls and we set out all the utensils and fold everything just right and do this and receive food and eat the food in this particular way. It is so complex that how could you ever do it perfectly? Like there's always something, the chopstick's gonna go over here, you know, you're gonna spill on your ragu, you're gonna, you'll do something wrong every time. So it's always just a practice. And so that we can re-engage in that. And I think one of Rebecca's point is that there's the practice, the word practice is misleading in that it's not real, right? Even if it's, we say we practice medicine and we say we practice law, but that doesn't really get to the actual grittiness of this is what we are doing. And we call it practice in this kind of false dichotomy that there's something else. When we're aware, when we bring our mind to it, anything is practice. Anything is in the service of waking up, in the service of the Dharma, in the service of being all together. There's no separation between what we're doing and the next thing that we're doing. But we call one thing practice and we call one thing not practice. Like singing isn't practice. Well, it could be. Anything can be practice. But I think it's that quality of awareness. And yeah, the word is troublesome. There's a few troublesome words, translations and stuff that we have. All right, thank you. Yes, please.
What struck me during the talk the most was the commentary on the talk. I believe the words were, when body and self are abandoned, it's the blind leading the blind. What that seems to me to be speaking of is the fact that Zazen, while it's a spiritual practice, it's done in the world. There's no other place that you can do Zazen besides where you are. What it reminds me to is a teacher one time said to me something to the effect of, well, how into the world should you be? And he said something to the effect of, enough so you don't get hit by a bus. And that's what it approached me, is that if we abandon body and self, we get hit by the bus. If we say, oh, I'm going to be in this beautiful state of Zazen all the time and nothing's going to hit me, then we abandon the fact that Zazen isn't a practice that's beyond us. It's a practice that's here. A way that I like to think of it is actually with the Buddha himself. the Buddha, when the Buddha had a family, when his family joined him in the Sangha, he didn't say, oh, I'm abandoning body and self, so go away. He accepted, oh, they're here, this is wonderful, then this is part of my life. And bringing his life into his practice is kind of the way that I see it, am I making any sense at all? But that's kind of how I related to that part of it.
Yeah, thank you. Sense is not necessary, by the way. You
Oh,
don't have to make sense at all.
I'm in the right place
Not
then, that's for damn sure.
Striving for expression of something, and you have express something very important.
thank you.
Yeah. That's the wrap-up sign? Okay, that's the wrap-up sign. Well, thank you. Sorry for any outstanding questions. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it over to Carol.